My name is Kia Williams, and I'm the co-founder of Serum. I'm also a proud Tom Ford Fellow in Philanthropy. This fellowship was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I was able to co-create a role in philanthropy that allowed me to have a deep impact on children's health, working to launch a program across insurers, employers, and health providers to impact 2 million children through 50,000 healthcare providers. Philanthropy has such a unique role in our society as a convener for the public, private, and social sectors to impact positive change. It's incredibly rare that a recent graduate or a young professional ever has the opportunity to explore, let alone contribute and question high-level strategies for change. The Tom Ford Fellowship in Philanthropy showed me the power of the social sector to take risks, pilot, iterate, and scale ideas to change the world. It taught me that change at scale is possible. And the confidence to launch Serum with my co-founders and fellow alumni, George Wong and Adam Kircher, to democratize access to medications for communities that needed it most. It also gave me the experience building national programs and helped build the foundation to understand how these partnerships get made to get the work done. And Serum's still here, nearly $100 million of medicine and over 1 million prescriptions later. Happy 20th anniversary, Tom Ford Fellowship in Philanthropy. Thank you to Susan Ford Dorsey and the Haas Center for Public Service for your incredible and continued leadership.
My name is Luis Ornelas, and I'm a manager of educational practice at the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative. I am also a Stanford alum from the class of 2018, which is the same year that I was awarded the Tom Ford Fellowship. When I was awarded the fellowship, I was really excited about the opportunity to turn my academic and my professional passion for educational justice into a career that was full of impact. But like many of my peers at the time, I wasn't completely sure about what I wanted to do with my career in the long term. However, I did know that I wanted to work in education, given my own experiences navigating the education system as the first person in my family to go to college. As I explored different fellowship placements, I quickly learned that working in education philanthropy specifically was going to provide me with an opportunity to get a taste of the breadth of the work that was happening in the field to create a more just and more equitable education system. Ultimately, I landed at the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, where over the last 3 years I found unique opportunities for me to grow from a fellow into the role that I hold now. Today at CZI, I support a variety of projects and manage portfolios that provide funding to schools, to educational nonprofits, and to researchers, all who are working to develop tools and practices for educators that are geared toward creating learning environments that support our children as whole people. One of the highlights of doing this work has been the opportunity to build relationships with and to learn from incredible partners who are leading this work across the country. I came into education philanthropy specifically, hoping to better understand how organizations create impact, and I've had the opportunity to do just that through these relationships with our partners in the field. These foundational experiences soon after graduating from Stanford serve as an inspiration to renew my commitment to a life of public service. This wouldn't have been possible without the support of the Ford Fellowship, which served as an incredible launchpad toward a meaningful and fulfilling career.
Hi, I'm Dana Schmidt. I'm a senior program officer at Echidna Giving, which is a philanthropic fund focused on girls' education in low and middle income countries. I was a 2006 Ford Fellow, and as I think back on the fellowship experience itself and what that did for me, I think two things in particular really stand out. So the first was the opportunity to work with really incredible mentors. I was very fortunate to work closely with the then president of the Hewlett Foundation, Paul Brest. And in terms of my mentors outside of the foundation, I really had the opportunity to work with the best and brightest in the field of international education. Many of the grantees that I was working with and supporting while I was a fellow have been the organizations and individuals who have really built foundational knowledge for the field of international education. And what an immense privilege and learning ground for me to really learn directly from those individuals during my fellowship year. And the second thing that really stands out as I think about what I took away from my fellowship is just this opportunity to practice philanthropy in real life and understand firsthand that it is much more of an art than a science, and that there are many inherent tensions within the field that will probably never be resolved, but are always worth grappling with. The tension between, having enough of a strategy as a foundation to have a sense of where you're going and how you might get there, but also recognizing that ultimately the work happens through grantees who have their own strategies and who need to be given leeway to pursue those. So at any rate, I could go on and on about how much the year meant to me and to my career, but just a few snippets to share here and my immense gratitude for the opportunity.
Hi, my name is Allison Upton Lopez. In this 20th anniversary of the Tom Ford Fellowship in Philanthropy, I wanted to extend my immense gratitude to Susan Ford for her generosity in funding this initiative, and Bill Somerville and Philanthropic Ventures Foundation, who at the time supported this work and me personally, and finally the Haas Center for Public Service at Stanford. I was in only the second group of fellows. I was a fellow in 2002 to 2003 at the Chicago Community Trust, and I'm currently the executive director of the Jillian Grace Foundation at a family foundation here in Chicago. Following my initial foundation year, I then largely left philanthropy for most of my career to, quote unquote, do the work at various operating nonprofits here and abroad, and returned to philanthropy about 5 years ago. Back in 2002, I began this journey knowing very little about philanthropy. What is a foundation? What do people do at foundations? What is philanthropy? And the Ford Fellowship started me down this path towards a professional career that simply would not have been possible without that magical first year at the Chicago Community Trust. That opportunity is rarely granted to young people, and I'm currently using my position to invest in the next generation by hosting summer interns here at our foundation who bring wisdom from their lived experiences as first-generation college students. I'm inspired to support this kind of work because of the opportunities granted to me like the Ford Fellowship. Thank you, Susan, and all involved.
Hi, this is Keith Calyx calling in from Washington, D.C., even though my background might suggest I'm in Patagonia. As you may recall, I was a Tom Ford Fellow from 2013 to 2014 at the Annie E. Casey Foundation, where I worked with the policy reform and advocacy team on Casey's Kids Count program and the inaugural Race for Results project. The Tom Ford Fellowship was certainly an inflection point in my growth as a person, leader, and philanthropist. The support, experience, and guidance I received as a Tom Ford Fellow fundamentally reshaped how I view myself as a servant leader and a philanthropist, and it's profoundly shaped the realm of possibility for how I can achieve my mission of generating outsized opportunities for low-income youth of color in this country. For those not too familiar with my story, my personal mission is deeply connected to my lived experience. I am the first person in my family to graduate high school and attend college. I was able to attend a prestigious tuition-free high school on the Upper East Side of New York City because of the generosity of others. At Stanford, I benefited greatly, again, from others' philanthropy. I was able to attend Stanford for free because of the university's phenomenal financial aid supports. I understand that attending Stanford as a low-income and first-generation Honduran American makes me a statistical anomaly. However, the Tom Ford Fellowship allowed me to understand how my background, combined with the expertise I am cultivating in a professional setting, uniquely positioned me to make transformational impact as a philanthropic leader. Since my time as a fellow, I've served as chief of staff at the Laura Arriaga Andreessen Foundation, and now I am all hands on deck as a 9th grade world history teacher and teacher leader here in the District of Columbia. While I currently do not work in a formal philanthropic setting, I know that the set of experiences that I'm building in the classroom will only better equip me to return to the philanthropic space more formally, and with that, much more perspective, drive, determination, and impact. To say that I am honored to be a part of 20 years of outstanding Tom Ford Fellows is an understatement. In my time post-fellowship, I've done my best to stay connected, and I even served as a member of the selection committee, which was a distinct honor. I know that I will be a leader in philanthropy, and I also know that will in large part be due to the Tom Ford Fellowship and the chance you took on me and the opportunities that you afforded me as a fellow. Thank you, Susan, for believing in me and for your continued support of Tom Ford Fellows. I know that I am forever indebted to your generosity. Stay safe, and from the bottom of my heart, muchísimas gracias. Thank you, Thank you. Thank you.